Hello and welcome to Marketing Speak. I'm your host, Stephan Spencer, and today I'm very, very excited to have Harsh Agrawal with us. Harsh is an amazing guy. I met him at Affiliate Summit years ago, and we've been friends ever since. We've seen each other at so many conferences. I've been to his home in Gurugram, India. Harsh has started his career in 2008 as an accidental blogger, and he became the biggest professional blogger of India. And that's not an understatement. He's also an international speaker. When he's not blogging, he's traveling to adventurous places like Antarctica, Africa, or he might even be practicing Vipassana meditation. Harsh, it's so great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Stephen. It's always amazing to connect with you, and yeah, it's so lovely to see you after many years.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it has been a while, and I miss you, brother.
Yeah, same here. And it's just so people. I mean, I got to know a moment back. You became a parent. I became a parent. Almost the similar time. So many congratulations to you for
Yes,
that.
and to you too. You too. And before we
Thank you.
started recording, I made a recommendation to you to check out the course How to Multiply Your Baby's Intelligence. And even though our babies are toddlers, actually, this content and these modalities still apply for teaching your kid math and reading and foreign languages, all sorts of stuff. It's really quite amazing. And the interview I pointed you to, I'll share right now with my listeners here, is the Janet Doman episode on Get Yourself Optimized on my other podcast. And that's a fantastic introduction to this framework on how to multiply your baby's intelligence. I took the 40-hour course from the Institute's Advancement of Human Potential, but this gives you a good starting point just listening to the interview. It was episode 303 on Get Yourself Optimized. Okay, so let's start by going a bit into this idea of blogging as a career slash income stream. How did that come about? It's apparently an accident for you, but I want to hear the origin story. I want our listener to hear that and how that then morphed into a very lucrative business for yourself.
Sure. Yeah, this is my favorite part. Like the inception of inception.
Yes.
So. So I've always been, a guy who likes to write about, who enjoys writing and sharing stuff. And it was in 2008 when I graduated from engineering. I was working, and then I learned about this idea about blogging. And I was quite techie, and I was somebody who likes to dig deep and find out, how to or hack a solution around a problem. This is what I used to enjoy. And then I started writing about tech stuff on my blog, and people used to love it. Now, this is where I also discovered that blogging is becoming a mainstream thing, all over the world. I mean, still at a nascent stage. There was, and that's where I discovered about Google AdSense and affiliate marketing. And the life, the internet life that I was aware of was changed overnight. I was like, hey, we are not supposed to work 9 to 6 throughout the life. We can actually do something that we are passionate about and make the same or more amount of money that we would do in the job. And that's where I made my mission that, hey, whatever I am doing, and I started making good amount of money by in next 3 to 4 months. And I made this mission that I would help others to discover this area of living a life where they can follow their own passion and make money from it. And that's where Shout Me Loud, my main blog, my first blog, moved from a tech blog to a blog which teaches people about becoming their own boss. And I think, the biggest differentiator, or the difference that we were bringing to the society was being transparent. Like, I was started with nothing. I was probably making 300, $400 initially. And I was very open and honest about how we were doing, what our income sources was, what our uh, expenses were, so that people can see how they can actually follow the blogging journey to repeat something which I was doing. And that's where Shout Me Loud was born and things started.
Yes. And so you started blogging in English, right? And not Hindi, even though you
Yes.
were targeting an Indian audience. Or were you
Um,
targeting more an international audience?
to be honest, the concept of target audience was not there. I was
Okay.
just writing about anything that was coming to my mind, like tech stuff or how to do blogging or how to grow your blog. And I think it was universal. In fact, until 2015, we had more users from US and UK combined than in India. And it was in 2015-16 when the internet penetration increased in India. That's where we started seeing a great influx of Indian audience.
Right. And you chose to target, well, I guess, well, not chose, but you ended up inadvertently targeting the US and UK because you were writing in English. And I guess you probably chose to write in English in part because the payouts from Google AdSense would be higher for US keywords than it would be for Hindi keywords. Is that right? Or you just prefer to write in English because you just like writing in English?
Yeah, I mean, I studied English in my college, my school days. For all the listeners, English is not my first language, so pardon me for my silly errors or mistakes. But yeah, it was an exciting language to learn and to write in, and especially I can speak to more people from different walks of the life, from different uh, genre and different part of the world. English was one language, so I chose that language to communicate my learnings.
Wow, that was quite fortunate because if you would have chosen Hindi, your payouts from AdSense would have been a lot less because um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it,
it's
yeah,
just the way it
and
works.
for true, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, wow, it's pretty amazing story that you did something that would stretch you and that you would enjoy, and it was able to sustain you. And how long did it take before it generated more money than you could have possibly imagined?
yeah. So one thing before that, before I get to that part, like I think like it was 7, 8 months of my blogging. That's where I had to decide if I would join the company where I was placed as an engineer. I was placed in this company called Accenture, which is an international MNC, very popular. So I had to decide between joining Accenture or continuing with blogging. And that's where the accidental blogger come into the picture. Even though I have made my mind that I will continue with blogging, unfortunately or fortunately, an accident happened, and it was bad accident. I was on bed for 6 months. I had this multiple fracture on my left feet, and doctor said I may not be able to walk. It's called Lisfranc fracture for the doctors out there. Um, so and that actually paved the way for me into the world of professional blogging, because even though I would have selected blogging as my career, there was still an iota of doubt that I might take that white label job because of the comfort, or because that's what been suggested by a lot of people around me. So the one thing which I learned from there: always take advice from the people who have walked into the shoes where you're planning to walk from there.
Right, right, because they've seen the road ahead. Another truism, a great adage, is that leap and a nut will appear. I like to add a corollary to that, which is, if you don't leap, then you'll end up getting pushed off the cliff. The net will appear as you're on your way down, but it was almost like the universe had to give you a bit of a push off of the cliff to make you fully commit to become that uh, blogger as a career and as a business person.
Yeah, that it sounds like something like that happened actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
how long did it
Now
take for
get
you to fully recover so that you could just walk normally and everything? Was it not just the 6 months of bed rest, but then another year of rehab or additional healing? What happened after?
Yes, 6 months of bed rest, and then 6 months or about 8 months of physiotherapy,
Yeah.
and then I was doing okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're recovered. I had no idea that you had that bad accident, actually, and I'm surprised I don't know that because I should know that. But I appreciate
Now
you
now you
sharing
do.
that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
then you fully recovered. What do you do differently to make this a big business, and how does this change your whole life?
Yeah, so I had an aha moment in between, like when I was very angry because of this accident, and just the idea that I would not be able to walk for probably throughout my life. I mean, this idea was, I don't think I was taking it lightly, or I was taking it, I was going easy on me, and I was very angry. I was angry with myself. I was angry with people around me, probably my parents, because I was hoping that they might consult a better doctor or something. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was not wanted to be in that position, that situation. But then I think after 2, 3 days, I saw my parents crying, and I literally saw them crying, and that was the moment I was like, "Damn, this is not right." Because of me, they are crying, and hey, I'm not the only one with the problem in the world. There are many more people in the world who have bigger problem than me. I'm still lucky to be getting all this medical help, all this treatment, and things might get better for me. And that was the moment that I realized that hey, I can be better than this, and people should not be getting hurt or feeling sad because of me. And that's where I determined to take complete control of my action. And for the next 6 months, when I was in bed, I fully committed myself to this process of learning and sharing everything about blogging. So, and that was a big aha moment for my entire career.
Wow, that's profound. So yeah, it's a responsibility that you realize that I'm not just responsible for my own emotional state, but my actions impact everyone around me, and especially your parents. So I'm curious now, what was the turning point where you realized, wow, I am making more money than I have ever dreamed of?
Honestly, money was never a parameter for me for anything, because I think I'm born in a very nice, upper middle class family, which is so, and we have been taught, I've been raised in a very different way when it comes to money. So that I was probably making $100 as my first job, as at a call center, okay, which was before I could join Accenture, and I was very happy. I was a happy man then. I'm the same happy man now. So the money never changed anything for me. Though only thing which I look forward was that whatever money that I'm making this month, the next month I wanted to make much more than that with my action, with my activity. And if I do that within 20 days, I would rather enjoy the next 10 days, going out with friends and spending more time. And I've been playing this game for too long. I think I still play the same game. But if I have to quantify the answer which you're asking, it would be 2 years or 3 years. By then, I think I was sitting at a very comfy space. It was, I think I was 32 when I felt I became a financial independent or financially free, where even if I don't work, I would be live a very happy and happy life.
Right.
I could sustain my lifestyle. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there are multiple points in life that you can achieve different levels of financial freedom. There's financial independence. There's the ultimate financial freedom. There's financially secure. These are great points to hit, and they're different. And it sounds like you've hit essentially complete financial independence, not just financial security, or actually, no, I'd say financial freedom, because if you don't have to ever work again, and if you quit now, you have enough of a nest egg that supports you and your family for the rest of your life. Yeah, that's financial freedom. You can do whatever you want for the rest of your life. It's amazing.
What would be financial independence? Independence is like you're dependent on your own. Is that?
Financial independence, that definition, I'm getting these from Tony Robbins. I learned these distinctions in Business Mastery, or one of his programs. I did 3 years of platinum partnership and followed him all around, did all these events. but it was a while ago. Last event was 2013. And so I'm kind of remembering from the deep recesses in my mind here. So bear with me. I think financial independence is where you feel like you could change careers. You could do something completely different, start a business or something like that if you were in the career track of, let's say, Accenture. And that gives you a sense of independence from a particular employer or particular industry or anything like that. Whereas complete financial freedom is a level above that where you don't ever have to work again, ever.
Yeah, yeah, it seems like that. Like everything becomes just a number in the bank account after a while. Like,
Yeah,
you basically look for better meaning and make a better difference, bigger difference in the life of others. I
yeah,
think that's what happens next.
yeah, yeah. I want to touch on that, but first, let's get into some affiliate marketing goodness here. How do you up level your abilities so that you can make more money month after month and not just rely on increasing numbers of people getting on the internet or finding your website? You're doing things to up level and increase traffic and increase your payouts and so forth. Where are you learning? How are you learning? What does a typical month look like of developing those affiliate marketing and professional blogging skills?
Okay, yeah. So I think it's a lot of layers which happened since 2008 because back then there was no such material which was teaching you in depth about affiliate marketing, or they were limited material if I have to quantify it. So a lot of this was self-discovery in terms of which plugin to use, which technique to use, how to SEO optimize the content. But some of the takeaways, which a lot of our listener can take away, is number one, work with SaaS products or the subscription kind of products. Second, your job is not to promote any kind of products, which a lot of people do if they are in the PPC kind of affiliate marketing. I'm mostly into SEO sort of affiliate marketing where I create high quality content which cannot be replicated, or which can be replicated. Of course, everything can be replicated, but which cannot be created by everyone, which requires a lot of expertise, experience, and the most important part, I don't do extensive keyword research. I create content which I know would become popular in the days to come. Of course, not all of them are going to be 100% hit, but then a majority of them became the content that people are searching for, and they stick on the first page for a really long time. Uh, Yeah, so the way I see is like, a lot of my strategy goes toward finding or identifying new products or new companies that I believe are going to sustain for years to come. They are not those products which are, which will shut down their shop the next day or, in few days, but only high quality products with real mission, real vision, with real in-depth work from their part. Where, and interestingly, a lot of time I promote products even though they don't have an affiliate program. For example, the one company which we both know, SEMrush, I've been promoting them since 2009 when they were very new. And for the 3 or 4 years, they were not sending me any paycheck, but I was still promoting them because what they were doing was making a great difference. But here's the trick: you might ask that, Harsh, okay, but this is not good business, like, hey. But here's the thing: a lot of time when you actually promote a good product and you see that this product would grow, sooner or later they would add or integrate an affiliate program. And since as a free product, and people don't like free product, in fact, people don't like to talk about free product. And when I say people, I'm talking about creators. Creators mostly focus on products which are sponsored or making them good money. And of course, there are certain people, or a good number of people, who do promote free products, just to give my gratitude to those people who are doing it. uh, but the trick here is, if you are into promoting a product which is already good and which is growing, eventually sooner or later they will add an affiliate program, and the moment they do it, your your bank will start getting the number that you would have never imagined. So that is what another trick that one could follow. And of course, you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. You have to put it in multiple basket, like multiple products. And
Yep.
yeah, that,
Diversified streams of income. Yep. Yep. And someone comes to mind in one of their principles, and that's my friend Jay Abraham. And what he teaches is the principle of preeminence, among other principles. He's a wealth of wisdom, but this principle in particular comes to mind when you're talking, because it's about being a resource, for a trusted resource for your prospect, even if you're not going to get the deal, get any revenue from them. You are sending them to the most appropriate resource, vendor, provider, regardless of whether it helps you financially or not. So you might end up sending this prospect to your direct competitor and not getting any money from it, but that is preeminence, and that gets you a lot of business karma. It's really not only a beautiful thing, it's a smart thing to do, because it really does pay out in the end. And you're a living example of that. I think that's awesome.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I actually imagine a lot of good things that has happened to my life is because of the good karma, or the people who have remembered me in their prayers, because of the value they got from Shout Me Loud, which has helped them change their life for good.
Yeah. Awesome. And incidentally, the Jay Abraham episode of this podcast is phenomenal. And I have an interview more recently of him where we get very metaphysical and philosophical. So that was a really interesting interview. He answered questions he'd never been asked before in an interview. So, listener, check out both of those. Okay, so how did you end up coming up with the name Shout Me Loud for your blog? Because that's an unusual sounding name.
Yeah. So I think I'm pretty shy guy when it comes to, like doing something, meeting people or sharing my thoughts, which is very, which sometimes and I found expression when I'm writing. And this is where I was thinking of a brandable name that I could use rather than using something like bloggingxyz.com. And I was just thinking of name. I mean, for the 2 days, then the idea of discovering the name was on my mind, and I was, traveling, and I saw this board saying "shout," and I was like, okay, that's a beautiful name, shout. I picked that word. Then the word "me loud" came from somewhere, probably while taking shower, and that's where "shout me loud" came into existence.
Awesome. Yeah, well, it's definitely a remarkable name. It's memorable. It stands out. There's something about it that really shouts at you, and I really like that. And it yeah, it's something that definitely differentiates you from blogging for profit dot whatever and all those similar sounding websites. So that was a great choice. Now, what are some of the things that you do to give back? Because I know you mentioned earlier in this conversation that you like helping people with all the additional money that you have, because the more you have, the more responsibility to help others. So what are you up to?
So number one, I don't have surplus money or additional money. Those are good to have, just to be clear. And I believe everyone will agree to that. There's never enough because there's so much you can do if you have enough or more. So yeah, I've started funding education for children. The plan is to fund education of 400 children, where I would be picking children based on their, current, like people who are deserving but less fortunate, help them get the right education. And that's what I want to start with. I did discuss this idea with some of my entrepreneur friend, and I'm so happy to share. Like, this idea is going to happen soon, and a lot of them are going to participate. So that's something which is on the top of my head because I believe one educated person can make a big difference in the entire society. So that would be my way of contributing back.
That's awesome. That sounds somewhat similar to what I'm up to. I'm on the board of Impact Network, and they build and operate schools in rural Zambia. And I've been on their board for maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe longer. I can't remember, but yeah, uh, the first time I learned of this organization, 2011, I met the co-founder, um, Dan, which incidentally I've had him on my podcast, my other podcast as well. Yeah, so that's a fascinating episode with Dan Sutera, episode number 76 on Get Yourself Optimized. And so yeah, it brings me a lot of joy and fulfillment to help young people learn how to read and how to do learned skills where they wouldn't have the opportunity to go to school any other way because they'd have to carry water or help till the land or whatever instead of going to school because it'd be so far away to go to school. They'd have to spend hours getting to a school. So build a school in that village, and now dozens and dozens of kids potentially can learn in school. So that's one, and the other one that is coming to mind that I help fund is Marici, or Marici, Marici. And what they do is they rescue children from slavery in India and other countries now too, but especially in India. So yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, we all should contribute any ways we possible, and for that, please make as much money as you could, and then direct your resources to for the right cause. Also, share about this on your social media, on all the platforms, because it's your job to also inspire people to do the right thing rather than keeping it to yourself. So, thank you for Marichi and episode number 76. I'll check it out.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm curious, what would be a next step for you in terms of your impact on humanity? And do you have plans to start a foundation? Do you have plans or ideas around some sort of big initiative other than just making donations or perhaps being on the board of nonprofits? Or are you working on some big things?
Yeah, so we are working on launching a foundation. I've asked my lawyer friend who's helping me with the all the setup part. I have two other friends who will be helping with being a part of this foundation. So we are still at the stage we are prospecting. If you have anybody who can help us structure it or guide us at this stage, that would be amazing.
Yeah, so I
So
don't have anybody for India, but I'm just starting this process myself and had an initial conversation with a lawyer who specializes in founding and structuring nonprofits. 501c3s are what they're called over here in the U.S. Yep. So
cool. Best of luck. And yeah, I'll constantly nudge you to get an update on this. I'm very excited about this.
yeah, yeah. Now I'm interested to hear more about the spiritual side of your life because you've integrated that so well into your business life. Um, I think this concept of work-life balance is a fallacy. You don't balance work on one side and then life on the other side of the scale. life includes all these different facets, and your life's mission or career is only part of life. You've got family, you've got your intimate relationship, your partner, you have hobbies and interests, you have your health, you have your finances, and so forth and so on. So there's this kind of wheel of life, and there are many slices to that pizza. How do you balance, or not balance, but how do you maintain that in a way that feels really good?
Okay. So I think you're absolutely back on the work-life balance. I mean, uh, that should not be there per se. It's not just work life. It's not two things. It's like life is actually full of lot of spoke in a wheel. That's how the life is. That's how we should see that. Plus, we should stop rewarding people for overworking, which is what this the current culture is. That people who are working or who are growing at a great speed, but they don't have, the work is the only thing for them. We reward them, and I think that mindset needs to be changed. Rather, we should reward people who are growing in all the aspect of life, even if they are not growing, but they have a happy life. Those are the real heroes, and those are the people who should be rewarded. Now, how I achieve it? So I will get to the uh, spiritual part later, but before that, like there is this aspect called North Star document, and which is based on something called traction, the book Traction. And this is something my good friend David Hensel he introduced me to this, and this is something I've been doing from last not many. I mean, it's not too old, but what essentially is this that we define our mission, vision, values, what are our goals for next 90 days or 1 year or next 3 years, and the wheel of life, which is interestingly you mentioned that. So we check our life current status based on the different parameter, like how good is your social life, how good is your health, how good is your financial status, your business, and different aspect of it. And the spoke, which is the list for the next 90 days, for the next 3 months, you mostly focus or include those activity which improves it. Or for a simple example, like maybe your relationship with your wife or your partner is not great, so you can include something like date night with your partner, and at least for the next 90 days, that spoke will start improving, which will balances the entire wheel, and your life will be a healthy and happy life, most likely. So this is one exercise that I keep doing every quarter and has helped immensely. I could share the document with you as a show notes. You can all of our listener can use it.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be fabulous. And so there are two books titled Traction. One is by Gino Wickman, who was a guest on my other podcast. He's the founder of Entrepreneurial Operating System, or EOS. And
Yeah, that's it.
that's the one. Okay. There's another Traction book, too. And that one is by the founder of the DuckDuckGo search engine. Kind of interesting. So, uh, yeah, that one is called Traction: How Any Startup Can Achieve Explosive Customer Growth by Gabriel Weinberg. So that's another Traction book by another smart guy. But you were
Yeah,
talking
but
about Traction by Gino Wickman. Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So I highly recommend our listener who has a business listen to the Gino Wickman episode on Get Yourself Optimized. Even if they don't have a business yet, even if you, as a listener, don't have a business yet, but you have aspirations to start a business, to be an entrepreneur, that is an episode definitely worth listening to. And you mentioned David Hensel, a mutual friend, because he's such an awesome guy. And of course, he was a guest on my other podcast too. We talked about how to get unstuck and how to set uh, goals and have a North Star, and it was really insightful episode. He has a course or program called Managing Happiness. Have you taken that program with him?
I speak to him. I spend time with him in his house. So I think we keep talking about the entire course in person.
Okay. All right.
So
Well,
so I was quite fortunate that was, yeah.
yeah. So I took it. It was fabulous. And listener, David Hensel is quite a successful business person, founder of Max CDN, Task Drive, UpCoach, a lot of really great businesses. Yeah, he had a successful exit from Max CDN years ago, and I forget who acquired that, but that was a pretty big business in the day, and then it got absorbed by one of the competitors when it got acquired. So, all right. Well, how do you increase the amount of content and the reach and all this without adding more hours to your day? Do you have a team assisting you? Are you the only content creator at Shout Me Loud, or do you distribute this work?
Okay, so just to get on the same page, I have two businesses now. One is Shout Me Loud, one is Coin Sutra. We have a team of 5 people, and I do work with freelancer. But again, as I said, like the magic for us is to identify the content which has not been created before, and that's where we get the edge. So even we publish 4 to 5 content, our content 4 to 5 content a month, which is not recommended, and in fact the recommendation is to publish more high quality content, which is good for business, but for us it works because of the high authority, or and that's what been our process is.
Right. So, which business of the two, Shout Me Loud and Coin Sutra, are which is the one that is the bigger focus for you these days?
Coin Sutra.
Coin Sutra.
Both
Okay.
both of them are there, but Coin Sutra is at a very critical stage of its career. The blockchain and the cryptocurrency industry is booming, and with our all of our core values, we think we can bring the kind of discipline which is required in the term of crypto investing, which is not out there, which is a real pain among investor, and that transparency that we bring to the on the plate is something a lot of individual around the globe can utilize,
Hmm.
including our experience to make that life changing money. So this is
Yeah.
what we are offering with Coinsutra. Yeah.
Awesome. And do you associate your name with the Coin Sutra brand? If I went to the About page, would I see information about you as the founder, or do you kind of stay on the DL to not, I don't know, get targeted by hackers who are trying to go after large Bitcoin holders?
Fortunately, unfortunately, I'm not a large Bitcoin holder. So no, I like the tech part. I saw cryptocurrency, blockchain, and the usage back in 2015, and that was I was quite late compared to a lot of other friends or common friends that we may have. But yeah, you would see my name everywhere. I take full ownership of the content, the quality, and everything goes there. I have had friends who had great success reading Coin Sutra and getting into crypto investment. So yeah, I mean I create content for people I know, and that's what the real USP is. Like if I can't change the life of people around me, how can I change the life of a stranger whom I don't even know? So that makes a lot of difference for when I hit the publish button, or before I hit the publish button. I always ensure that whatever I'm publishing, it is of high quality. Nobody should lose money because of this, and it should add value to the people life. So that, and I don't have any problem putting my name out there then.
Yeah. So give us an example of a friend who's had an amazing outcome because they followed the advice on Coin Sutra, and of course anonymize the
So
person so that they don't get targeted.
definitely, I think it was 2017, some August, September. A friend of mine had some amount in investment, and he came to me. He was like, Harsh, I want to invest in this, and I was like, okay, I'll suggest you something, but before that, you need to read. And because you know, being an investor, you need to be an aware investor. Otherwise, the point of investing is never there. You are either just a dumb investor, or there you are an investor who knows where in what you are investing. So I spent time reading and learning about blockchain, the decentralization, and Bitcoin. And then and back then it was not easy to get into the cryptocurrency wagon, even in 2016, 17, and I think this was 2017. So yeah, he invested that time, and I think that time Bitcoin was some $1,500 or something. And yeah, he still thanked me, still send me thank you message and notes sometime for helping him invest in that, and that has changed his life for good.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. Very, very awesome. So, what are you doing as far as your spiritual practices that help you to be the best person, best soul you can possibly be? 'Cause you have the potential to work infinite number of hours per day. You have more ideas than you have time in the day to implement them. So, there's something that you do to keep you grounded and also seeing the bigger picture. So, tell us about that.
Yeah. So I believe my journey, a lot of this has been contributed lately by this meditation practice called Vipassana. Something I was very fortunate to get to be introduced by something called Quora. I read it, you know. So I'll just take 2 minutes to like share a story before that. So I'm the kind of I was the kind of guy who never believed in the spirituality. I always thought like it's just one way or other way of making money. I was very ignorant, or I was more of a guy who would like rather go to a pub and party and chill than spend time reading this literature. But I think it was 2015 or 16 sometime when I was at the point of my life where I had everything, but what I did not had was happiness, and I was feeling always felt like something is missing in my life. I don't know what was it, and I made this friend of mine, Archana, and she's from Toronto. No, not sorry, not Toronto. She's from somewhere in US. I'm sorry, I'm missing the name of the state right now. But she was in Mumbai, and I met her at a conference, and I saw her, and there was like something very amazing about her. Her aura or her presence was quite uplifting, and I felt some kind of happiness when I talked to her, and she mentioned that like her husband Desh, who runs this blog called Drishtikon, uh, is a big follower of Shout Me Loud, and his blog is about spirituality. So like we exchanged our contact, and I went back to my room, and I was supposed to go for a party. I don't know. All of a sudden, I opened his blog just to out of curiosity about the spirituality, and he had a lot of content which was backed up by science. I thought like spirituality is only something which is like completely away from science, but his content was full of scientific backing of benefits of spiritual practices. For the next 6 months, I keep reading, and I read like I don't know, maybe 10 book, The Power of Now, uh, the surrender experience and whatnot, the
Surrender
autobiography of
experiment. Yeah.
the surrender experiment, yeah, the autobiography of Yogi, and I keep reading. And a lot of them talked about the magical experience of spirituality and whatnot. And I was like, okay, here's one thing which I know. Uh, People might be sharing their experience in any way, but there was one thing which was very common in all the books was that you have to meditate. If you're not meditating, you may or may not reach that ultimate stage of happiness or calmness. And then I got to know about Vipassana experience. I simply signed up for this experience, which is of 10-day in-house meditation experience, where once we go there, we submit our phone, we maintain noble silence. That means we don't speak, engage with anybody else with our eyes. Basically, we don't disturb anybody else so that we can continue looking inwards. The practice starts at morning 4:30, and we practice for 10 hours a day for the next nine and a half day. And I've been doing this and when I did it, it started changing my life. Again, it took me a lot of time to like integrate myself with this practice. I did my last practice 2 months back. Again, so I've started going every year for 10 days. I go practice this, uh, and I practice this day and night, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. At least I try to. And yeah, so I'm just sharing my experience. I don't know if I'm qualified to share all these things because I'm just a student, and there are more people who have spent countless hours doing this. But From my experience, what I could share is this is the most, if you ever want to learn meditation, there are multiple ways to learn meditation. I found Vipassana to be really a natural way of learning meditation because you start by focusing on your breathing for and improving your focus. And then you start by focusing the sensation of your body and you realize the most basic nature of the entire existence, that is law of impermanence, anicca. That's the Pali word of it. Once you realize that all the thoughts or everything that we are experiencing would eventually change, the way you react to the certain situation, instead of reacting, you would start responding, and it's a slow process. It's
Yeah.
not a it's not a 1 day thing. And yeah, do you want to add something here? Because I'm pretty sure you must have spoken
Oh,
to
yeah, yeah.
many people around it.
Well, the one of the benefits of something like this is you gain awareness of your awareness, which is very meta. So when you are aware that you are aware, it's other level. It gives you this perspective of that there's a bigger picture. You may not be able to grasp the bigger picture, but you can glimpse it. And also, another way to think about this is praying is talking to God, but meditating is listening. And a good conversationalist does both. Actually, more listening than talking. And a lot of people out there are only praying and not listening. And it's amazing what you can hear if you take the time to listen. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Good conversationist. Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah. And another thing I'll mention too, you gave some great recommendations of books that you've read. I'm curious if you've read any of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. He's the author of Becoming Supernatural, of Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Phenomenal, phenomenal guy, and he's a very grounded scientist, but very spiritual, very metaphysical at the same time, and he brings those two seemingly very disparate aspects of life together in a very cohesive and integrated way.
Not yet, but yeah, now it's going to my to read list.
Yeah, yeah, and he does these programs that are week long intensives. They sell out in 20 minutes. It's crazy.
Hmm.
There's so many there are so many people who try to get in. He does them, I think, once a month in different parts of the world. I think that would be pretty incredible for you to attend if you're interested. Yeah.
Sure, always open for new and exciting experiences. That's what life is about.
Yeah, awesome. And what do you tell somebody who's very skeptical about going through 10 days of not speaking at all?
Yeah. So here's the thing, you can just tell them like, hey, you got to try it. And you will try when you're ready. Like somebody first told me about Vipassana back in 2010. I laughed on this idea. I was like, hey, again, why would I do that? Like no TV, no phone. No, that's not me. And then after 6 years, it happened. So I think the best thing I can do is like I can share all these experiences, learning with others, and it would happen when it has to happen for somebody. That I just believe that's how it works.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. The timing is always divine. And one thing I'll mention too about Dr. Joe Dispenza, I was listening to one of his monthly Q&A calls a few weeks ago, and he was talking about some scientific principles and studies and so forth. And one thing I remember him talking about how human thought changed the outcome of a random number generator slightly, but it was measurable, it was statistically significant, and it was reproducible, which is phenomenal. Like, that's how powerful
So
we are. We can change
you
reality.
you need to repeat that again. How human thought what?
So a random number generator on a computer is
Uh,
supposedly random, right? But human thought can influence that random number generator, they did scientific studies, peer-reviewed scientific studies, and showed that it was statistically significant. If you tried to focus on changing the numbers of the random number generator algorithm, it would change the numbers.
Crazy. I mean, it sounds very unbelievable. And yeah, I'll definitely check it out, Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza. And
How was your reaction when you heard this for the first time?
it makes total sense because I've been experiencing it for the last 7.5 months. Yeah, 8 months. Yeah. What happened for me, and I don't know that I really share this on this podcast. I've gone into this at some length on my other show on Get Yourself Optimized. There's been a whole slew of spirituality focused episodes over there since January because I had a big spiritual awakening. I had my first spiritual awakening in 2012 in India, in Udaipur. I got touched on the head by a oneness monk, and that awakened me, and it was like an LSD trip. Everything was in Technicolor, and that was incredible. But this was like a second level of spiritual awakening that happened on January 22nd. I'd prayed to God for a job. The reason I asked for a job, I have a job, I have a business, but I asked for a job because in preparation for an interview back in November on Get Yourself Optimized, I did some research on this amazing psychic medium, Sheila Gillette, and she talked about her near-death experience back in 1969. She was on her way out, no doubt about it. She wasn't going to make it. And she prayed to God, please let me raise my kids, let me stay on this planet, please give me a job, I'll do anything, just give me a job. And a miraculous healing happened overnight, and she had, for her it was Jesus, so it was the divine showing up at her bedside, and all this beautiful energy flowing into the top of her head, into her crown chakra. And next thing you know, she becomes psychic, and of course she was healed that night. Doctors couldn't believe it. That was 50 years ago, and her whole life is completely different now because of that experience. She channels on a daily basis. She channels 12 archangels. She's the real deal. And I interviewed her back in November, but that thing of her praying for a job just stuck with me, and so I prayed for a job. It took me a few months, but I'm like, I want that, and I don't want to have a near-death experience to want it. I want it now, without the NDE to go with it, and it was instant. It was instant. It was like the veil was lifted, the matrix was revealed instantly. It's been incredible. It's changed everything in my life, and that was 8 months ago.
It's something you would know when you know.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. Anyway, so didn't mean to go off on that tangent, but thank you for asking. It's it's fun.
I believe I know how passionate you are when you shared your first time experience of initiation in Udaipur with me when you were telling me about this, and I could see the same now. So yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I know we're out of time, but if you had a resource or a tool or a tip or some last nugget of wisdom to share with our listener or viewer, what would it be?
Okay. So first, a tool or resource that I'm building. It's called vip.coinsutra.com. It's a place for the people who are looking to grow in the field of cryptocurrency. Again, it's managed by me and my team. So, and the idea is to build a community of like-minded people who understand that, this part of investment can do really wonder. It's you do everything of your own. It's just a learning platform where people grow of their own. So again, if you're one of those who are interested in growing in the cryptocurrency space, want to learn and share, grow at the same time with other people, you're more than welcome to join us at vip.coinsutra.com. Second, uh, I know that last 1 or 2 year has been very hard for a lot of people, and I think meditation is the right way forward at this moment, something that you can integrate into your life. If you want to try Vipassana, you can go to dhamma.org and find a center next to your country, city, wherever you live in. It's available everywhere, including US, New Zealand, UK. The best part, everything is completely free. Um, and I'm recommending it based on my experience after trying it out for 4 times. If you would have asked me after my first experience, I might not have said the same thing. But as I'm maturing in this field, I could tell you it could make a real difference into your life and the life of people around you. So, yeah, there you go.
Awesome. Well, those are great recommendations. And vip.coinsutra.com, is that a membership site, or what exactly is that program?
So we are adding 4 value proposition, and it's at a very nascent stage. The very first, we have a lot of courses. The first one, which is called Grid Bot Trading, where basically bots would trade on your behalf. You just need to fit in an instrument, and the complete strategy is shown how you can do that. Then we have a Discord community group where people can join and interact with other member of the community. Of course, completely anonymous if you want to be, or you can use any name or any image you want, but it's an invite based. Third, we are creating something called CoinSutra Picks, where we are sharing whatever investment that we have made for ourselves, including me, my team, so that people can do their own research and they can invest. And then we are experimenting with 1 or 2 things. For example, monthly research report, where we share research report of a particular project that we are very excited about. We share what are the good and bad of this project and what do we think from the investment perspective, with all the essential disclaimer, which is very important. And yeah, and again, we are building. So, anybody who has an idea, feel free to join and share their ideas with us. Um, Hopefully, we'll build something that world has never seen.
Amazing. Well, good luck with that. It sounds like you're adding so much value out in the world, revealing a lot of light, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, man. Thank you, my friend. It's always a pleasure meeting you, chatting with you.
Yeah, likewise. And listener, it's a pleasure having you on this journey with me, and thank you for listening to this little bit out of the box episode for Marketing Speak, but I think it has incredible gifts and lessons for you, especially if you implement. So catch you on the next episode. This is your host, Stephan Spencer, signing off.